Hi, I'm Danny Lipford.
And I'm Chelsea Lipford-Wolf.
Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. And don't forget to leave us a like and a comment.
And be sure to share with a friend, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you get notified of new videos.
Thanks and enjoy the show.
If your garage looks like this one, and most of them do, we'll show you how to get it organized in this week's show.
Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford, the voice of home improvement, with projects, tips, and ideas to help you improve your home.
Now, one of the first steps in getting your garage organized is to throw away anything that you haven't used in the last couple years, or you may want to donate it to a local charity. Now, the problem with clutter in a garage like this is it ends up all over the floor, taking up all of the available floor space. Now, in this situation, this homeowner has a lot of wall space that we're going to use to organize this garage, and even a few things will be hung from the ceiling, which is a great idea to get maybe a bicycle up and out of the way. Now, one of the first steps that we need to do here is to remove everything out of the garage, or most everything, and then group it in different groups such as lawn chairs, sporting equipment, lawn tools, and that kind of thing. Now, in this situation, I've even enlisted a buddy of mine, Greg, to kind of help me out with this mess. As we begin moving things from the garage to the driveway, we sort it by categories. By consolidating similar items, you can determine how to best store them. You may also discover a few things you didn't know you had, and therefore can probably live without. With most everything out of this garage, we can really start getting things organized with a few of the tricks we want to share with you. And one thing that takes up so much room in a garage, bicycles. Now, a children's bicycle, probably best to store it right along the wall like this. You can just put the kickstand down, keep it out of the way of the cars, and that leaves it very accessible for the children. But adult bicycles can be stored very successfully overhead on the ceiling. Now, these type of hooks that have a plastic coating on it are readily available at the home center. They come in a lot of different sizes, and this particular one is perfect to hook right on the tire of the bicycle, turning it upside down. Now, of course, you'll need to measure the bicycle to make sure you're getting the proper spacing, but more importantly, you want to make sure that you're hitting a ceiling joist when you're putting the hooks in. By looking in the attic, we can determine what direction our ceiling joists are running and how far from the wall the first one starts. We make a measurement on the ceiling back in the garage and then check for the location of the joist with a small nail. We measure out a few inches along the same joist and do the same thing. Then we drill pilot holes that are slightly smaller than the threads on our hooks. We thread in the first set of hooks, making sure they're deep enough into the joist to be secure. From the first hooks, I measure over 48 inches, which is the width I need for the bikes, and should also hit a ceiling joist since all of these are on 16-inch center. Then out from the same distance from the wall for the next two hooks. The pilot holes are drilled and the hooks installed as before. Along this same joist, I'm measuring out for two more hooks. The hooks that will go in these holes will be used to support hanging plants brought in from the cold weather. We measure and cut a piece of pipe 6 feet in length and then drill a hole in each end. Small eye bolts are installed in these holes, and the bar is suspended by short lengths of chain from the two ceiling hooks.
Now, this will be perfect for hanging the plants, or maybe even a snowsuit or a wetsuit, almost anything that you'd like to hang out in the garage. And if you don't need it at certain parts of the year, then you can simply unhook it, store it, and you'll have it whenever you need it. Now, we'll hold off on putting our bicycles up or our plants inside until we take care of those lawn and garden tools. Greg has already gotten a good start on a system we'll use to organize all the lawn and garden tools. Now, this type of bracket's readily available at the home center. A lot of different styles that you can choose, and most are able to be mounted right to the drywall. Now, what I like to do though is to mount it to a 1x4. Now, we've taken a 1x4 and we've primed and painted it, leveled it up, and then put a screw in every 16 inches. And this is just perfect to be able to remain a little flexible, because you can move your racks around a little bit if they end up not being exactly where you need them. But once everything's installed like this, it really is perfect for holding things like this. A little shovel or your rakes can hook behind it. And the thing that's so nice about it is you're able to kind of display all your tools you have available so that you can see just what you have at a glance. Well, we've taken care of our lawn and garden tools. We've taken care of our bicycles, also the plants. When we come back, we'll take care of some shelving.
It's time for this week's Simple Solution from home repair expert Joe Truini.
it only makes sense to get the most out of the materials you're using to improve your home. Now, it's very frustrating when you get right to the end of a job and you run out and have to go back to the home center. Well, Joe has a method that can prevent that from happening when you're using caulk.
Well, I don't know who invented these caulk tubes, but it seems like there's always just enough caulk to nearly finish the job.
Right.
That's exactly what I have here. I'm applying caulk along the top of this baseboard molding, and the tubes run out right when I only have 2 or 3 inches to go. Now, one trick that I've found that works almost every time, regardless whether it's caulk or panel adhesive or almost anything else that comes in a caulk tube, is you can usually get a little bit more out at the very bottom if you insert a round wooden dowel. This is about 2 inches long. You slide it all the way in, and it goes right up against the cap that's on the inside.
So it's basically just extending the plunger that you have on the
Right.
caulking tube. I
Yeah.
guess you could use almost anything in there then.
Any piece of wood that would fit in there.
I got you.
And this way, when the plunger goes down, it'll hit that wooden dowel and force out that little bit. Let's see how much more I can get out of this. I only need a little bit.
Boy, that's
There
perfect.
you go. Let's see. May have to spread that out, but there we go. Just enough. Smooth it with your finger. Well, Danny, it looks like we got our money's worth out of this tube.
Welcome back to the show. Now, to continue our effort in trying to get everything off the floor of this garage, we're building a section of shelving all the way down this end of the garage, over 20 feet. And we're taking 2 of them, so we're going to have almost 40 foot of shelving to accommodate a lot of the things that were here in the garage. Now, we started out by measuring a few of the items that we're placing on the shelf to make sure we have the proper spacing, and we decided to go with 16-inch wide shelving since there's so many large items in our garage. And we started all of this process out by measuring from the ceiling down. We marked the height of each shelf on both ends of the garage and connected the points using a chalk line. Next, we located and marked all the studs and began attaching our 1x2 cleats to the wall. These cleats were primed and painted in advance to save time, and since they won't run the whole length, they have to be seamed at a stud location. Pre-drilling helps prevent the 2-inch drywall screws from splitting the cleats as they go in. On the sidewalls, short 15-inch cleats will support the end of the shelves. Our wall cleats will support the back side of our shelving. Now, here's how we'll support the rest of the weight of the shelving. These are little 1x4s that we've kind of nipped the corner off here with our miter saw, and we're using these every 32 inches, and these will serve as the supports for our metal shelf brackets. Now, our shelf brackets are around 11 by 15, perfect size for what we're doing here. And brackets like this can be put right on the wall, but with the weight that we're expecting on these shelves, we're afraid we just won't have the support using the surface of the drywall. So by putting these on the wall and nailing them into the stud, we know these brackets won't go anywhere. So we'll go along and install all of these along the wall. That's a good bit of work. A scrap of wood on top of the cleat will hold the bracket flush while Greg drives the screws in. These screws go through the bracket, the 1x4, the drywall, and into the stud. When the brackets are all in, we begin measuring for the shelf boards. We cut down 3/4 inch particle board into 16-inch by 8-foot pieces, which are also primed and painted. Each shelf will require 2 seams, and we're laying them out to land on a shelf bracket. The boards are cut at opposing 45-degree angles, so the narrow bracket supports both pieces. While Greg is completing our shelves up above by installing screws through our metal shelf brackets into our wood shelving, I'm in the process of laying out the next part of our project, and that's to build a countertop along the wall that'll run about 7 feet. Now, this countertop space will be perfect for the homeowners because it's always handy to have a little bit of space even if you're not using your garage as a workshop. Now, the counter will be a little bit wider than the shelf itself, so we'll have to build it a little differently. We're marking the counter height at 36 inches so that we can clear the mini fridge, and the width at 80 inches so that we can hit a stud at either end as we attach our cleat. A vertical cleat on each end will be used to secure a triangular support for the countertop. More 1x4 bracket supports are cut and mounted in the middle, this time every 16 inches on the studs, and the metal brackets are mounted as before. Our countertop, as well as the triangular support, was cut from the same 3/4 inch particle board and painted in advance so that we could simply set it in place, line it up, and screw it down. A 1x2 band around the counter will add strength and cover the raw edges of the particle board. Greg's taking care of some of the finishing touches on our new countertop with puttying up all of the nail heads and screw heads. Now, after we completed building the countertop, I decided to add a little something extra. We took little pieces of pine, 1x2 and 1x3, and created these little wood runners. And what this will allow us to do is to put our little recycle bin right under it like this, staying with the theme of keeping everything off the floor we possibly can. And as the need arises, more recycle bin drawers can be established all along the underside of the countertop. Now we're going to take care of a little bit of touch-up painting here before we start bringing everything back in. And when we come back, we're going to do something to this garage you may have never considered: installing carpet. Stay with us.
Let's join Danny at the Home Center to check out this week's best new product.
One project that has to be done from time to time, and I don't know anyone that likes this project, is to replace the caulk around your bathtub. Now what happens so many times is it'll form little small cracks that can allow water to get behind the tub, which is not good, and also it really accelerates the growth of mold and mildew. Now not only is this unsightly, it's also very unhealthy. Now this can be so frustrating when you spend a lot of time cleaning all of that caulk off and cleaning the area for the new caulk to be applied. You apply the new caulk, and then after a few months, mold and mildew is everywhere. Well, technology is helping us out on this project with a new silicone caulk from GE that contains BioSeal. Now what the BioSeal does is it protects against any growth of mold or mildew for the lifetime guarantee of the caulk. It's also very flexible, so that if you have a little expansion and contraction around your bathtub area, which is not uncommon in a bathroom, it won't crack, it won't shrink, therefore protecting the bathtub from having any water damage behind it. And as I mentioned earlier, it has a lifetime guarantee, so if you're going to spend the time to take on a project like this that sometimes can be a little unpleasant, you may as well use a caulk that'll last for a lifetime. You may have never thought about putting carpet in your garage, but it really makes a lot of sense. You think about it, if you have any type of dirt on your shoes and you walk straight into the house, you're tracking a lot of dirt inside the house. Now the carpet that we're installing is a very thin type carpet, and it's an indoor-outdoor carpet, so if it gets a little wet from time to time, it won't be a problem at all. It's very inexpensive, so it does make a lot of sense to try to take care of reducing the amount of dirt that you track into the house. Now we're not going to install the carpet everywhere in the garage, but one 6-foot stretch here and then 2 3-foot stretches on each side of the garage should be everywhere that foot traffic should take place. And we're going to keep it in place using a double-sided carpet tape. We'll use it sparingly along the edges to keep the carpet from kicking up and causing a trip hazard. And then, if the owners ever wanted to change it out in a few years, it'll be very easy to remove it and put another section of carpet down. Now, our first step in getting the tape to stick is to make sure this floor is nice and clean. We thoroughly sweep the garage before rolling out a section of carpet across the back wall. It's marked and cut square on one end, then cut to fit on the other end. The sidewalls are measured and 3-foot sections are cut from them before we begin applying the carpet tape under seams and heavy traffic areas. But there we go. With our carpet in, we can start moving a few of our items back in, and the carpet really does make the whole garage look a lot better. Now, one thing a lot of homeowners are finding out about is staining their concrete with concrete stain. Now, this one was done several years ago, and well, maybe needs just one more coat to really finish off the floor of the garage. Also, by staining the floor allows it to be a lot easier to keep clean. Now, all of the shelving that you see behind me and that we've built so far is open shelving, but there may be some situations you want to kind of hide a few things away. That's where this comes in. This is a great idea with using old kitchen cabinets. If you're renovating your kitchen or know someone that is, try to hold on to some of the overhead cabinets like this, secure it well to the wall, then you can kind of tuck away a few things behind the doors. Now there's a number of ready-made cabinets that are available for your garage. Most home centers stock low-price cabinets that are ideal for this use, but there's also a few higher-end systems that can really dress up a garage and allow plenty of flexibility. Many include panels that can be installed on the garage walls, from which a variety of cabinets, hangers, and racks can be mounted. Some even have rolling lockers and matching appliances. We mentioned earlier in the show how convenient it is to use some of the plastic hooks for things like the bicycles that we've hung from the ceiling. We've also used similar hooks, but of a different shape, for lawn equipment that were hanging here on this wall, and even the homeowner surfboards with a different size hook that we made sure we had a stud to go into, screwed those in place, and that's a perfect way to tuck something out of the way like that. Now, you may not have a surfboard, but you may have some skis or other seasonal equipment. That's a great way to handle it. Now, another way to maximize the space in your garage is to use all of the garage, keeping your car in the garage, but just barely enough that the garage door will close behind it. Here's a good trick in showing you just how far to pull your car in. Now, this is just a piece of fishing string with a practice golf ball tied to the end of it. And this is lined up just right to where when your car pulls in, the windshield of the car touches this, and you know you're just enough in to close the door, and you still are saving as much space as you can here for storage of all the things that you have in the garage. Now, we're about to fill this garage up and show you just how organized it can be. Stay with us.
Let's head outside for Around the Yard with lawn and garden expert Tricia Craven-Worley.
Well, what's up here, Tricia? Looks like you've cleaned out your pantry.
Well, I did clean out the pantry. Not a bad idea for things to do.
Now, baby shampoo, how can any kind of shampoo help your plants?
Well, this is a mild baby shampoo and also mild detergent, dish detergent. These are two good ways to keep your plants clean.
Now, what kind of benefit, how can it keep
Well,
your plants healthy?
when plants are not clean, when they're dirty and dusty, the photosynthesis can't happen. The sun can't get through to the leaves. And another thing, especially if you use a spray bottle, that's really nice. If you spray the plant underneath and all over, then the bugs really don't like the taste of it, and they also don't like the slight gumminess that sometimes the soap can leave.
Okay, actually that'd be a big advantage now.
Oh, yes.
Okay, tell me about the corn syrup. What are you about to cook something there?
Pecan pie? Well,
that sounds good.
actually, corn syrup, molasses, and sugar are three products that you can mix with a little bit of water and put under your plant. And what it does is it helps build the chlorophyll in the soil and also helps with the good bacteria.
Well, I'm learning things today, but tell me about the cola. Now, I have a lot of cola left over around my house with my kids, and once it goes flat, they don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, a lot of half cans
A lot of
everywhere.
those, yeah.
We'll gather them up, put them in some kind of bucket or pail, and pour it around your plant of your choice. Also, this helps with the bacteria. Now, plants, of course, are never on a diet, so make sure you don't use the diet kind of cola because it's lacking the sugar that is producing that bacteria for the plants.
Great ideas here.
Well, that's the last of it. We have everything back in the garage. And if you remember what it looked like this morning, you could barely even walk in this garage. But by spending a little bit of time and buying a few things from the home center, like the hooks we use to hang the bicycles from the ceiling and the hooks for the surfboards on the wall worked out great. All of the shelving, very easy to build, but look how effective it is in accommodating so much stuff that was in this garage. Also, our little countertop worked out great, tucking the refrigerator under and all the sports equipment, even a shoe rack worked in. Now, when the homeowners are ready to do a little work out in the yard, they'll be able to find the tools they need now that everything's organized here. Now, I hope you enjoyed this week's show, and hopefully we inspired you to tackle your garage. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to comment, like, and hit the bell icon so that we can notify you when new videos are posted.
And don't go anywhere, click around and continue the home improving fun.